Hey everyone, Marie-Louise here again, and I'm just going to transfer this to my group, my page actually. So if you don't know me, I'm Marie-Louise from Lifestyling, and I'm all about dating and relationships. I want to help you get into one if you're not already in one, and let's break some patterns, see what we have to do to get you dateable. Because I'm sure you are, but maybe just need a little bit tweaking. But let me just make sure I'm putting this in two places at once, because I'm clever like that. I can be in two places. If you haven't actually been to my page yet, please do go to a lifestyle and dating coach. And there's all sorts of fun things in there, memes and stories and blog posts and gosh, so much more than I do here. So let me just type a quick message. Join me to chat about MAFS. Because if you know me at all, you know that I love reality TV, particularly The Bachelor, Bachelorette, all the dating shows, Love Island to a lesser degree. But I've watched nearly all of them a million times throughout my life. But the newest one that is really hitting me hard is MAFS, Married at First Sight. Now, we've had a few seasons here so far, but this one, we're about a week or so in. All of the couples have gotten married if you haven't been watching. And they've all had time to be on their honeymoons. And last night, they all got back together for a dinner party. So they all got to meet each other's spouses. They'd had hens nights and bucks nights separately. So all the guys got together and all the women got together. But now they all got to meet each other. So last night was very interesting, of course, because during one of the weddings that happened this week was Sam and Elizabeth. And of course, Sam disappeared the morning after the wedding, which was a shock to a lot of people. So I have so many notes so many things that I've actually made notes. So if you're watching this video and you like it so far, and if you're new to watching my videos, please turn on the notifications so that you'll see me again. Feel free to share, like, comment, try and keep the comments on topic, but your participation is appreciated no matter what. So I've been sort of stunned this week with the show. Now, let me just preface this by saying that I do not think that this is a real show. I just love dating and love relationships so much that I'm fascinated to see. Sorry, I've got people messaging me who can't see that I'm actually online at the moment. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Let me turn that off. Anyway, so I know it's real. It's called reality TV, but I know it's not real. I know these people aren't really getting married. And I've had people say to me in the last week or so, it's not real. Like, what do you think I am, stupid? No. But it is fascinating to see what other people do. I always love to see how people live their lives. And to a large degree, it's about seeing what they sort of thinking about what I would do if I was in that situation, which I would never be in that situation. So I would just like to see how they cope with the things that they that happened to them, such as Elizabeth being the super confident person that she was touted to be. In all the ads, all the promos leading up to the show's airing, she was all about how confident she is and how men can't handle her and all that sort of shit. And I wondered if they'd sort of put her down a peg, and they have. They really have. By putting her with Sam, they really put that to the test, which is a real shame, because I'm all about helping women be confident, helping them make great dating choices, helping them learn to be self-sufficient, to rely on themselves. Men too, by the way, I'm not discounting you at all, but in this case we're talking about Elizabeth and how confident she claims to be. And I think really the show put her on there just to show her that she isn't, because this week she was put to the test hardcore. So for those who don't know what happened, the day after the wedding, what we saw, and this is not necessarily exactly how it happened, but what we saw was that Sam supposedly received a text saying that his ex-girlfriend, who he calls his partner, ex-partner, I hate the P word, we all know I hate the P word, so his ex-partner's mother had died. And he was just talking to Elizabeth about going to the funeral. Now, Elizabeth reacted a lot better than I expected her to there, given that she'd just married him the night before, the day before, and the whole thing is completely out of her wheelhouse, like it's out of his wheelhouse. But I think most women, if in any type of wedding, will want to spend the next few days spending that time with their husband, and in this case, getting to know her husband. And the fact that he wanted to go off to this funeral is, a big deal. But she was completely understanding about it, and she said, "Off you go. You need to go." But I don't think she expected what happened after that to unfold. So we'll get back to that. So we just saw him disappear. He said it was in New Zealand, which for those who know their geography is just next door to us here in Australia. It is not around the world. It is not in, a completely different time zone. Depending on where they are, we're practically on the same time zone. So depending on where the funeral was in New Zealand, that is. So I think she would have expected for him to be keeping in contact with her, letting her know how things were going, checking in with her. And I think I would expect him to be... Well, I was discussing this with a friend earlier, actually, and what I said was that if it was me in that situation, I would say, I'm still in this, I'm still committed to you, and I want to get to know you, keep getting to know you, but of course I've got this situation that I have to go and deal with and be there for my ex. But I'm going to keep in contact with you, and let's try to at least keep this momentum going of this wedding and honeymoon and, marriage. So that's what I would have said. We didn't see any of that. Now, obviously, there's a lot of editing. We don't know what gets cut out, what was actually said and what wasn't said. But I don't see him saying most of that stuff, to be honest, because frankly, I think he's a bit of a player. And before the show started, I was pretty much convinced that he was a player. Of course, there's editing and stuff, but the fact that he's as good looking as he is, which is how they've marketed him as well. It's no surprise that he's a very attractive person. Not my flavour, actually, but I'm not blind. I can see he's a very attractive man. And they were saying how attractive he is, but he has problems. He cannot keep a woman. He cannot maintain a relationship. So, first of all, since when does he have an ex-partner who he's so close with that he needs to go and attend her mum's funeral? It sounds like he wasn't actually able to maintain a relationship or keep on going long enough to become close to them and their family. So that's kind of interesting. And there was also the fact that later on, so basically he was gone for 5 days and she didn't hear from him the whole time. She started going a bit loopy-loopy because she's pretty much trapped in this apartment the whole time and separated from all the other couples and everyone, so she had nobody. There was one night she went out with her friends and told them all about what had happened. But, the poor girl's going stir-crazy. And we all know that in these reality TV shows, the producers are hyping shit up. They would have been grilling her half the day. How you feeling? How you feeling? Oh, you haven't heard from him? Oh, he hasn't texted? Oh, you haven't had a phone call? Oh, didn't you text him earlier? What? No response? I can't believe it. When did you send it? What did you say? They would have been on her back constantly, because that's what they do. They're trying to get a rise out of her, trying to get a reaction. And the poor thing, now, this girl is made up to the nines at all times. She has, for someone who says she's super confident, and in the promos, she was saying things like, men say they want a confident woman, but I call bullshit on that. But to be honest, she wears a shitload of makeup, and I have to wonder how much confidence she has in the first place. Wish she did have all the confidence in the world, and hopefully she'll gain it sooner or later. But at this stage, I think not. And that's also why they put her on there with him. Now, I also think, and let's see what Mel... Yes, I agree. So Melina, who is also a dating coach, and she's a much more experienced than I am, she said to teach him a lesson, they should make them go on their honeymoon now. And I completely agree. However, I actually think he's already been on his honeymoon. Well, that's a theory that I've got that I'll come back to. But the thing is that they put her with him because I think he's such a player that they sort of letting him play out his playing fantasies. They've put them together as part of the experiment. Obviously, this show is not really about helping people fall in love, or else they wouldn't put people who are so opposed to each other. They wouldn't put people who live, you know, Australia's a big place for those who are overseas. It's a big place. You know, it's like, I don't know, 7-8 hours flight from one side to the other side. And so you wouldn't put someone from Perth together with someone in Melbourne if you really wanted them to be together. You just wouldn't. So they have deliberately paired this couple together because he's so hot, she thinks she's so confident, and they knew that they would clash heads because he's a wanker, he's a player, and he wants to do whatever he wants to do. And I actually think as a player in the real world, he saw this as an opportunity to step up his playing. He's like, I've played every chick I know. How else can I do it? What's the next game? What's a Super Bowl or the Super Bowl or the grand final of playing? And that's to do it on national TV. So he has scored by getting a chick like that who he was able to cut down to size, especially during the dinner party, which I'll come back to. My theory is, yes, definitely he was banging his ex because I don't think there was even a funeral. We didn't see any of that. And it doesn't behoove the show to show us that stuff. I actually think there was no funeral. There was nothing. Whether he was banging his ex or not, there was nothing. There was no need. He was probably off on the honeymoon, wherever they were supposed to be. He probably got it. Because you hear about experiments on TV shows where they put, you know, one person in a group and they pull them aside and they want them to be the agitator and they pay them extra and they do all sorts of things. So I actually have a feeling that that was the case and they've done that to him because, the reason I say this is because he claims he didn't receive any of Elizabeth's texts, but we saw them. He said he didn't have voicemail. She played us his voicemail recording. So I think he was away somewhere. They took him off somewhere. They probably planned it. And he didn't have his phone because otherwise he would have been receiving those texts. Even if he didn't get her number from her and she got his number from the producers, that was all part of the plan. The other theory is that he set it up like on a date when you send it to when you let your friend know where you're going to be and you say, ring me an hour after I get there and I want to get out of jail free card. You need to say there's an emergency and I am gone. Because, yeah, that's right, it was bullshit. Because that's exactly what's happened. I reckon he set it up with a friend. They organised that at the wedding, he would say a code word. He'd be like Bazinga or something. And his friend knew to send a text and get me the hell out of there. So they're my theories, that it was set up by a friend or that the whole thing's part of the show and he was actually probably off on his honeymoon. I know it's filmed over winter because some of the others were in New Zealand as well and it was snowy. And he looked pretty tanned. So he was either off on Fraser Island or something, sunning it up, or he was in New Zealand but skiing and maintaining his tan. But the fact of the matter is, when he turned up at the dinner party, and that timing was important too, because you don't just know where these things are happening, but the show conveniently managed to get him back there after 5 days of ghosting her, basically, to turn up right in time for the dinner party. Isn't that convenient? No, not really, because it's all planned. And, you know, of course it's a TV show, but this is what we like about it. But they would have been saying to him, yeah, go off and do your honeymoon or your funeral, or go off and do whatever it was that they agreed to. And they would have said, we've got her covered, which is why he didn't feel he needed to apologise. Because I'm sure that he's a player. He doesn't give a fuck what she thinks anyway. He doesn't give a fuck about her feelings. If he did, he would have made sure that he had her number and he was texting her and keeping in contact. But I'm sure the producers were like, no, we'll smooth things over with Elizabeth. Don't you worry. We've got that covered. Mate, we've got your back. Because he loves that kind of elevation. He loves having people like, yeah, I'm the best. I'm Sam. Look how hot I am. I'm amazing. So, let me just see this. What Melina's saying. Oh, I can't see it. As far as she was concerned, she had rights to his dick on the wee night, and he was like, fuck no. Well, that's the thing too, because I do think, guess who had a point last night? You know who I actually agreed with? Ines. I actually agreed with nearly everything she said, except for the liability. I didn't like hearing it, but I think it's true. I think that they were never going to last. And this is the whole thing. They set them up badly. They set them up just for the TV, just for us, which is so nice. Thanks, Channel 9. Thanks for the present. But I do feel sorry for people on the show who get screwed over. I absolutely maintain that you go on the show knowing full well what you're going to get, and this is not the first season. So these people know, they've seen it, they know that everything they say gets taken out of context, they know that it gets edited and snipped out, and they in the audio they have this part of the sentence and this part of the sentence put together, and they've said all sorts of things. But it was bound to happen. You go on the show, you either get somebody great like the beautiful Cam. Like, how delicious is Cam? I've forgotten his wife's name now. But she's amazing. They're a really good couple. Even though I didn't expect them to be. God, my hair's on my lipstick. God, man, you're so lucky. I didn't expect her to like him quite so much. I'm really glad that they got paired. We'll see how it goes. But there are other things. There's trouble in paradise. Bloody Ines is not going to last with her guy. There's no chance of that. She's treating Bronson like shit. The fact that she was rude to him right from the get-go at the altar as such, when she said, hi, my name's Ines, can we get rid of that eyebrow ring? So rude. That was ruder than the hairdresser. And she was pretty rude when she met hers. And, I'm a pretty nervous person, and sometimes I say all sorts of things that I'm like, what the hell was that about? But, God, I don't think I've ever said the sort of rude things that have come out of the mouths of these women. So, they're working it as well. But I do not see Ines and Bronson working. And the fact that Ines was all about wife swapping last night, she said it on the way there. Which is, funnily enough, what Davina said last year. She said it, and then that's exactly what happened. So Ines, while she's a hypocrite for saying that she doesn't like Bronson's stripping background, she did stay one side of being part of it. So she's predicted it, but we all know that she'll probably be the one who's part of it. But she, at the moment, is just like, no, it'll be them. Like, I can see it happening, like, for sure. But the thing with her and Bronson is that he's such a nice man, and she said last night that he doesn't do anything to make her feel like his wife. And I'm like, but you're a bitch. You're an absolute bitch. We've seen nothing but bitchiness from her. And that poor guy who's been through to hell and back 3 times, 2 brothers and his mum have died. God knows what other sort of traumatic experiences he's lived through. He is being so nice to her. It's like he's climbing up a mountain by hand without any ropes or anything, and she's standing on his fingers. She's just deliberately trying to fuck him over because she's a cow. Now, she's had a hard time too. She's definitely had a hard life. But boy, oh boy, is there a man standing right in front of her doing his best to be so nice to her, and he's giving me hope that she can actually have a happily ever after, and look what she's doing to sabotage it. So bad. So bad. So, I'm going to go. What are your thoughts? I want to hear what you've got to say. I'm going to have a look at all these notes that Mel's written. I would love to see them. And let's see what else you think, you guys. Do you think he was at a funeral? Do you think he was just off shagging someone? probably. I think no matter where he was off shagging somebody. Or do you think Elizabeth's gone a bit cuckoo? I think she has. And frankly, I feel bad. Actually, that's another point. Their communication style, not great. He's so used to getting his way and being right all the time. It's that very narcissistic behavior in the sense that he was making it look like it's her fault. Yeah, he just got back and he's like, hey, let's talk like grown-ups. But the whole time he was saying, hey, he was talking over her. She actually couldn't let out what she was feeling. And she had every right to feel that way. Whether it was orchestrated by the show or by him, or actually true, you never know. Or actually true that somebody died that he needed to go off to. Conveniently, he was only gone that exact time frame. So I'm still doubtful of everything. But he needed to let her talk. And he was just a prick about it. And I think if that's the way that, if he's come to the show acting like, oh, I don't know what the problem is. Oh, I don't know why I can't make a relationship last. I don't know. Well, have a look in the mirror, mate, while you're talking, because you're not a very nice person. So I would doubt they will last. I mean, like, I'm already looking at my clock going, no, it won't be on even, now. I mean, obviously it was filmed ages ago, but you know what I mean. And that's not going to last, for sure. And especially the way he was carrying on to her, not letting her speak. And that apology, bullshit. I actually loved the voiceover because it was like, that is so what he would have been thinking. For sure, that's what he was thinking. But just rude. The apology, too much was cut out. She took it too well. I don't believe it for a second. I think she was probably up to pay scale or something to accept that, because she went in there guns blazing. Actually, I think she did a really good job of communicating her feelings when she finally got him aside. I didn't think she was going to do such a good job because she was so upset, and I'm not sure how I would go in that situation. As much as you plan it, in the moment it can all go to hell. But she did really well. But the apology was so fake. I can't believe she swallowed it. I mean, if she swallowed that, she can swallow anything, and God knows. So I shouldn't go there. But there is going to be wife swapping, so God knows what goes on. Last year I heard there was an orgy in a spa, so you never know. So stay tuned. I don't do lives on MAFS every day, but I do pretty much do a live most days. So if you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to share it. And add me as a friend if you haven't already. But like my page, Lifestyle. And if you like this sort of thing, I do a lot of blogging, and that is all on my website, which is lifestyling.com.au. The links are all over my page, so feel free to check it out. And if you're in Australia and you're looking for somebody and you need a bit of a community, you need some lifting, some confidence building, maybe some help with your dating life, you can join my Facebook group. So that is Lifestylers and Relationship Finders Australia. You do have to be in Australia, because a really big important part of a relationship is spending time with somebody, and that's what I advocate. All right, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing your comments, and I will catch you really, really soon. Bye.